and welcome to the 36th Assembly District Candidates Forum, brought to you by SCVEY TV, KHTS AM 1220, the Signal newspaper, and COC Cougar News. I'm Leon Warden, and there's an election coming up on June 3rd for the 36th Assembly District. Now, most of the Santa Clarita Valley is in the 38th District, but the 36th District, which is mostly in the Antelope Valley, reaches down into Agua Dulce, takes in part of Acton, parts of Saugus, Canyon Country, out to Castaic. And so that's why we're here today at SCVEY TV. We've got 4 candidates with us in the studio, and they are J.D. Kennedy, Tom Lackey, Suzette Martinez, and Steve Fox. And the questions today are going to be coming from a panel of journalists from the Santa Clarita Valley, starting with Perry Smith from KHTS, Haley Cook from COC Cougar News, Luke Money from the Signal newspaper. We're going to open today with 90-second opening statements from each of the candidates.
Well, thanks, Leon, and to the moderators for having us today. I'm always excited to be in Santa Clarita. Santa Clarita was the first place I made home after my 3rd deployment to Iraq with the United States Marine Corps. And in the last 4 years, I've worked for Congressman McKeon, fighting for benefits for veterans and to place them into jobs and the homes that they could afford throughout our valleys in Santa Clarita and in the Antelope Valley. When I look at Sacramento, I'm frustrated with several things. First, we've got double-digit unemployment throughout our communities. We haven't come to a long-term solution for our water crisis. We need to defend Prop 13 and make sure that homeowners are able to maintain the taxes for their homes. And we need to come to some solutions for the flaws within AB 109 and keep prisoners off our streets. Sacramento's lacking leadership, and we need representation in Sacramento for our communities with people who know how to fight for us. I fought for us 3 times in Iraq, and I fought for our community since my return. If you send me to Sacramento, I'll fight for you there.
What do you think can be done in Sacramento to address the concerns about our water supply?
J.D. Kennedy.
Well, first we got to actually make it a priority and address it. We've got many farmers throughout the 36th district, and they need water in order to produce the crops that they're producing. California is in a drought, and our leadership in Sacramento is not doing anything to address it. We need to build reservoirs, and we need to put water in them. We need to take a look at desalination, and we need to build pipelines in order to fill those reservoirs. Bottom line, make it a priority, build reservoirs, put water in them.
Redevelopment zones have played a big role in the development of Santa Clarita. With the elimination of those, how are you going to compensate for local growth?
Well, first, we've got to get out of the way for business. Mr. Fox and the current supermajority in Sacramento have voted numerous times to dismantle Prop 13 and add more taxes for our business owners to make it more difficult for them to do business, to grow, to hire more people, and to get more people off of unemployment, out of the welfare programs. We've got to get out of the way and help them to do their job and hire more people. We've got to define the enterprise zones and work with our local economic alliance and economic development corporations to help them to recruit more businesses to our community and to our state. It'd also be beneficial if somewhere in our budget we could do something like other states do. Texas continues to come into our state, write a check to our business owners and say, move on into Texas and we'll let you cash that check. What if we were to do the same thing in our budget and say, hey, Mr. Business Owner, here's $1 million. Move on into California, you can cash that check. We want your business right here.
If elected to the State Assembly, what are you going to do to stem the flow of manufacturing, aerospace, and film industry jobs from California?
Well, it comes back to being more business friendly. We saw again last year continued tax increases for all businesses in California. That's got to stop. We've got to fight for our businesses that are here while we're recruiting more businesses to move in and offer more jobs. At the same time, we've got to produce more work-ready graduates coming out of our local schools and enter our workforce here locally rather than moving on to other states, other communities. How do we do that? We build more schools and we put more teachers in front of our students. The class sizes have gone crazily too large. 40 students to a classroom in some points. We need to lower the amount of students per classroom, have more teachers, and make sure that our students are ready to enter the workforce or go to college upon graduation. And why don't we consider this? Instead of having a specific enterprise zone, why shouldn't California be a whole state of an enterprise zone? We need to lower taxes, produce more work-ready graduates, and have a higher quality work-ready workforce enter in the jobs that we've got to offer.
AB 109 has been roundly criticized by law enforcement officials, but prison overcrowding is a significant issue in the state. What can be done to address the problems without releasing more criminals from jails?
Well, I don't know that we need a full minute to answer this. It's pretty simple. Releasing criminals onto our streets is not the answer. We haven't seen a solution to AB 109 introduced until very recently, and I haven't seen where Mr. Fox is on that, and I think it's unfortunate that having a prison right in our own district, our representative hasn't taken that issue as a priority. We need to build another prison somewhere in the state. We know that Adelanto is lobbying to have a prison, but in the meantime, we've got to do everything we can to partner with private prisons, put professional state-trained correctional officers in that prison, and make sure that we keep criminals off our streets.
California has one of the highest minimum wages in the country. Why do you think this is good for our state, or do you think it's something that should change?
Well, I believe wages shouldn't be set by the government. Wage should be set by your employer. An increase in the minimum wage is not the answer to keeping business owners in our district or in our state. We need to give a little bit more freedom to our employers while ensuring that our workforce is also able to make decent enough wages.
Some have criticized the California Environmental Quality Act, or CEQA, as an obstacle to growth and development in the state, while others see it as a vital safeguard for our environment. What are your views on this piece of legislation?
Well, CEQA absolutely needs to be reformed. The regulations within it, just like everything California does, somehow we find a way to put more red tape in front of businesses in order for them to do construction or to expand, and just sends the wrong messages to our business owners. And they continue to find that along with other reasons to leave California. We need to be more business friendly, we need to reform CEQA, and we need to give businesses a reason to stay in California.
The Proposition 30 tax increases voters approved were temporary. If our revenue levels decline again, would you be in favor of continuing them to keep our state solvent?
Well, I actually agree with Mr. Fox on this one. We do need a long-term solution, but the solution isn't with any more tax increases. The solution lies with broadening our tax base, spending our money wisely, and being more business friendly. If we want to have more tax money, create more jobs.
What party do you belong to and why?
Well, I'm a Republican. I'm a Republican because I believe in the American dream and I believe in community service. I believe the American dream is achievable through somebody's own individual efforts, whereas Democrats in Sacramento tend to believe that government is the answer to provide the American dream for you. That's quite simply why I'm a Republican.
Thank you. Nicely done, everybody. And now we're going to go right into closing statements, beginning with J.D. Kennedy.
Well, thanks again for having us here today. Was very excited to come back down to Santa Clarita. I'm running for state assembly because there's a lack of leadership in Sacramento. We need leadership to fight, to create jobs. We need leadership to come to a long-term solution to our water crisis. And we need leadership to defend Prop 13. I fought for you 3 times in Iraq. I fought for this community since my return. I've delivered results. I've put people to work. If you vote for me on June 3rd and send me to Sacramento, I'll fight for you there.
Well, thank you for watching the 36th Assembly District Candidates Forum, brought to you by SCVEY TV, The Signal, KHTS, and COC Cougar News. I'd like to thank the candidates for joining us today. J.D. Kennedy, Tom Lackey, Suzette Martinez, and Steve Fox. And our panel of journalists over there on the left facing is Perry Smith from KHTS, Haley Cook from Cougar News, and Luke Money from the Signal newspaper. I'm Leon Warden, reminding you to vote on June 3rd.